like a whimsical thing, like in a fairy tale or something. But yeah, it grows everywhere.
And is there something about it?
Hi there, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm
You
good.
are all set.
Okay, so can you tell us what your name is?
My name is Tracy Young, formerly, but when I lived here, when I grew up here, it was Caputo.
Tracy Caputo.
Yep.
And you have a story about your house in Windsor.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I was born in Jersey, but moved to Connecticut in 1969. And we moved into this house when it was brand new. I went to John Fitch Elementary School and L.P. Wilson when it was a school also. We were in the first class that had the first freshman year of high school at LP, so we were part of that group. We graduated in 78. I moved out of the state of Connecticut in 84 to Fort Lauderdale. I lived in Fort Lauderdale for 22 years, and then my mom had gotten sick. She was still living up here in our house, and flying back and forth, taking care of her. She passed away. I inherited the home. Was very done with South Florida at that point and moved back. So I lived back in the house that I grew up in and didn't expect to stay there for very long. So 16 years later. And I live right on the corner of a property. So you can't enter our neighborhood without seeing my property. So I'm a crazy gardener, landscaper / gardener. I'm a nurse by trade, but landscaper / gardener on the side. I always said I was going to open a side hustle saying, Tracy's Landscaping, nursing your lawn back to health. And so I had my neighbor's son, who's in his 20s, told me the other day that he said it's like your yard is the most welcoming thing to the neighborhood. It's like, he says, even when we have visitors, they're like, what's with that yard on the corner? So it's nice to have that appreciation. I live on the corner of into two dead-end streets. So as you're coming down the hill, it kind of like doglegs into the lane, but the side of my property is what you're facing as you come down the hill. So you can't not see it. But
See your flowers.
yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. And I built a giant garden this year that I'm super proud of. But
Is there another memory of Windsor you want to share?
oh, I was laughing because on your thing it says, what was your funniest memory of Windsor? And I think the funniest thing was at the end of our street, runs through there, and there's a cow pasture on the other side. So more than once we had to call the police because the cows got loose and they were grazing in our yard. And the funniest part about that was that, they're cops. Like, they were like, and what do we do about that? Instead of calling the farmer to come and retrieve the cows, they literally came down, one with a rope and the other one on his mic, literally going, moo. And I never forgot that. It was the funniest thing I ever saw. Did the cows come? No. They ran away from the car. But that's probably the funniest memory I ever had of Windsor. But anyway.
I've seen a picture of a police car, and they're dragging a cow along the side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it happened more than once at that time, but it was pretty funny.
How is your neighborhood different from when you grew up and how you living in it now?
It's significantly more diverse, which is great. I love that aspect of it. And it's funny because over the years, my family still lived there, so I would come back and visit. And when I lived there, between the two streets, there were 35 kids. We literally had what we referred to as the bike brigade. Right after dinner, we were all on our bicycles cruising the neighborhood. I remember there was a lost child at one point, and we got wind of it. Oh, that was it. That call went out. We were all on our bikes. We scoured the neighborhood looking for this kid. They did finally find him. We didn't, but it was very funny. And then, everybody aged up, moved away. So then it was like mostly adults. And some of my neighbors are still the people that lived on that street when I grew up. So, they're in their 70s and 80s and 90s. And now the turnover has begun, right? So people have moved away, they've aged out of those homes, so younger people with younger kids have moved back in. So there's that sort of regrowth of the neighborhood again, which is pretty cool.
Exactly. Well, thank you for sharing.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.